Mama, what if the only thing standing between you and the life you want was your comfort zone? Join me today while I talk to my guest, Jocanna, who got really uncomfortable and completely leveled up life for her entire family. Hey, mamas, welcome back to Mamas Building Businesses. Today, I have an incredible mother and business owner with me, Jocanna, and I'm so excited to talk to her about work-life balance. Jocanna, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Erica.
Yes, yes. So you are in Atlanta,
I
right?
am.
So
Yes.
so let's go back to the beginning. Tell
Yes.
us a little bit about like you, your family, where you grew up, how old your kids are.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, hey to all the mamas. And yes, I was actually born in Miami, Florida. I moved to Atlanta, geez, without telling my age, over 15 years ago. And my background is Hispanic. So both mother and father are from Colombia. I have two incredible kids. Nevaeh, who is 10 years old, that's my daughter, and my son Mason, who is 5 years old. And then I'm also married to my amazing husband, Darius Brown, and we've been married now for, why is it taking me so long to think? 11, together for 13 years, married for 11 years.
That's so amazing. That's really incredible. So you have an incredible husband, you have amazing kids. Your kids are busy. I see them on social media.
Yes.
They're in
Oh,
sports, right?
yes, yes, yes.
And you run a really incredible credit repair business where you help people not only with credit repair, but also business funding.
Yes, 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 yes.
And then you and your husband have a YouTube channel, which is, tell us a little bit about the YouTube channel. Is it educational? Is it based on like the funding and the financial freedom aspect?
It is literally a little bit about everything. So our channel is called Keeping It Real with the Browns. And so really any topic that we talk about, it's really just about keeping it real. Yes, we are talking a lot about credit education, financial literacy, business credit, business funding, but also we're talking as entrepreneurs. We're talking as parents. We're talking about all things life. We're talking about parenting. Just anything that's laid on our spirit, it's what we're gonna come and bring to the marketplace. So our YouTube channel is like our baby. It's our safe space. And so literally we'll come on there. You might catch me in there in my pajamas because literally it's like come as you are. We're just here to share value, here to have a great conversation and to just keep it all the way real.
I love that. It's like the real, the raw. That's why when I was planning this channel, I was really debating about like renting a space and recording them like in not so much a video studio, but more like a, like the peer office spaces. So you have like this nice setup. But I'm like, you know what? I want people to see me doing it with what I have, like doing,
Yeah.
where from my home office, like just doing it with what I have. So I think that's incredible. And I think that we live in a time with social media that there's a lot of highlight reels. And so sometimes people will be on the outside looking in and think, well, I can't do this until I have that.
Oh
And
my
it's
God.
not true. You can start with what you have and start with where you are.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. I literally, and we record right from our living room. So
I love it.
we go right downstairs, we have our setup. But yes, work with what you have. At the end of the day, it's about the value that you're bringing. It's about, the conversation. So as long as you're providing that value to the people, forget everything else.
I love that. I love it so much. So tell me, before you had your own business,
Yes.
what did you guys do? Like what did pre-entrepreneur
Yes.
Joanna look like?
Well, to say I'm even an entrepreneur is kind of crazy because I never really thought I'd be an entrepreneur. But my career was in the property management industry, and I started in my hometown, Miami, Florida, literally straight out of high school, really. The summer that I graduated, while all my friends were getting jobs at like Foot Locker or Burger King or like, retail places, I had landed my first job with a company called Miami Management. I was an administrative assistant for this property management company. And literally, That's all I ever did. I actually took like a 2 year break from the property management industry and did bankruptcy special. I was a bankruptcy specialist because at the time I was studying paralegal. And when I did my externship, I was like, this is not for me. I don't like being in cubicles. I don't like being hidden behind so many files, behind legal work. And I said, you know what? This is kind of, I'm a people's person. So I was like, this is kind of taking away from interacting with people. And so I went back into property management when I moved back here to Atlanta. And I've been doing it ever since, up to about 3 years ago when I literally walked away from my 14-year career in the property management industry. As a community manager, I just knew the importance of credit. I knew that credit is just such an important factor for anyone who's trying to purchase a home, purchase a vehicle, invest into a business venture. Um, and as a community manager, I used to decline people daily because they didn't have substantial credit to even rent an apartment. And so, what do I do then? My hands were tied. I couldn't do anything. And so, my husband, who's actually my business partner and my direct mentor, he just kept pouring in that fire inside of me. He was just like, listen, there is so much within you. Like, there is so much of an impact that you can be making outside of being behind that desk. And I was like, huh, what are you suggesting? And so it took me a while to kind of accept what he was trying to tell me, to just get out there, to flourish, to tag team with him into the entrepreneur world. And at that time, I mean, I'm living in a high rise, I'm living rent free. I'm like, you want me to give that up for uncertainty? Like, I know I've heard about entrepreneurship. And so, long story short, we decided to go into business together. I've been an entrepreneur now for over 3 years. But it's such a rewarding industry, just being in a position where you can truly position people for financial freedom, truly position them, to get into their dream home, their car, invest into the business venture. And so, I honestly, with the highs and the lows, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
I love that. I love it. And it's being in a position to help people, right? Like in any aspect, because everybody has a dream inside of them. I'm a big believer that sometimes the world makes you forget those dreams, but everybody has a dream and it might be a home, it might be a business, but just being in a position to help people because a lot of times people just don't know. They don't like you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
they just don't know the how. And so to be able to help them. So, okay, 3 years you've been
Yes.
in business, that you walked away from your career. Tell me what impact being a business owner has had on your family and having control of your own time.
Well, whew, so again, entrepreneurship does come with its highs and its lows, right? Um, and looking back, I'm very appreciative of that journey. Because I would tell you, the first year into entrepreneurship was probably one of my darkest years ever, my darkest moment. We always say that entrepreneurship is spiritual. It's like, how are you going to handle that adversity when it comes your way? And so it was definitely a challenging transition, but I literally appreciate it for everything that it's taught me because adversity has truly taught me to build character. And honestly, had I not gone through that adversity, I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today, to be able to face anything that's thrown at me, thrown at us. It's actually allowed me to have more flexibility with my time. It's such a blessing to be able to drop my kids off at school each and every single day. It's a blessing to pick them up. It's a blessing to take them to their sports. My son is in flag football. My daughter is now in competition cheer, and so I don't have to ask anybody to, hey, can I take a lunch break? Hey, can I go pick my kids up? Hey, those are the rewarding that is the reward that comes with betting on yourself. And so, again, it's probably something that I probably will say so many times, but it's the God honest truth. I would not change it for anything in the world. I truly wouldn't.
I love that. So I want to touch on two things that you said. And I think when we first met, we had the conversation about entrepreneurship being so spiritual.
Yep.
And for anybody who's listened to more than one video, they've probably heard me say this more than one time because I think that people have a really big misconception that to have a successful business, you like learn all of these business skills, right?
Yeah.
And that is the way to succeed. And my experience, of course, you have to learn business skills along the way. But my experience has been I had to work on me way more than I ever worked on the business. And that is the spiritual side, my relationship with God and just, who really refills my cup. Like
Yes.
when I've poured and poured and poured into other people, who refills my cup, but also like the personal development aspect, because I think that in working with so many business owners over the last 8 years, the thing that I see about really successful business owners is they're super self-aware and they always look within first when something isn't working out. And the ones who I see fall off more quickly are typically the ones that want to like blame circumstance or like blame everything else and be like, well, this just didn't work for me. And um, and so I love that you touched on that because it's it's a lot of personal development to own a
It
business.
is. It is. And I by default I'm an introverted person. I am such an introvert and people think that I'm not because I host a lot of seminars, I get invited to presentations, I've been on stages, but it wasn't always like that. Like I literally just used to live in like this little shell. And had it not been for my husband, who really is the person who truly poured into me and really allowed me to also see that there was so much more within myself. And you know, with that, what I'm trying to also say is also like it's really important who you surround yourself around, right? That's very key. Are they lifting you up or are they, withdrawing from you, but in all of that, like I really have had to hold on to God and I've had to stay grounded and anchored because again, it wasn't always what it is now. The stability that we have now, it didn't start that way. There was moments where I was like, how the heck are we going to pay that car? How are we going to pay that? How are we even going to get a bite to eat? And these are all, and I'm a firm believer that we go through tests so that we can share that testimony. Our test turns into a testimony. And it's just, even talking about it here or on your podcast, it's like looking back, I try not to even get emotional, but it's like, wow, like literally, if I had to do it again, I truly would do it again just to be where I'm at today, just to have that flexibility, that freedom to be more present with my children because really that's really what it's about. That's really what I wanted the most out of anything was to truly have the flexibility to be present in my children's life, not come home, make dinner, okay, eat your dinner, get your bath, go to bed. No, like I am literally bonding with my kids day in and day out.
Yeah, I love that. I just told somebody the other day, so my son just finished his junior year of high school football and he's been playing football since he was 5. And I told somebody the other day, I said, "Well, I've only missed 2 games in his whole life." And I hadn't really I mean, I've been intentional with that. To be honest with you, it's one of the biggest reasons why I ended up leaving corporate 8 years ago was because um, I had a boss who really gave me a hard time because I had left work one time because I was worried about my kids. And it just for me was like, my kids will, like, a job will never come before my children. And just that like ability to be present. And sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm grateful my kids are used to that. Like I posted something on Facebook today my son this morning, he had called me at like 7:44 and I had a missed call. And then at 7:46, he's like, "Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Geez, can I get like a 5 minute grace period?" But but I'm so grateful that my kids are able to depend on me in that way. I'm grateful that they expect me to,
Yeah,
I say be at their beck and call, but they expect me to show up and they expect me to be available because that is the tone that I have set with them, even when all the other chaos is happening.
yeah.
Which which brings me to the second thing that about what you said, which is I think there is a lot of people on social media throw around time freedom.
Mm,
And I think there is this misconception like,
yeah,
oh, you have your own business and so you have all the time in the world. And it's like, no, we still work really, really hard.
yeah.
I had somebody say something, and I don't think their intention was to be snarky. Like one time on my Instagram story, I had posted like I was at the beach and it was like the middle of a Wednesday. And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it must be nice, da da da," and I like at first I felt myself kind of get like triggered because I'm like, I just spent the last 8 weeks working like 14-hour days. And what they didn't see is that I was at the beach for like an hour in between meetings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that there is a misconception and it's like, no, we still work really hard. We just
Yes.
learn how to be more efficient and create
Oh, yeah.
systems that support our life.
Yep, yep. And also how to balance things out. And at the end of the day, like with entrepreneurs, I feel like what may work for me may not work for you, and what may work for you may not work for me. So it's really just about it's really finding out what truly works for you. And here's the God honest truth. You may actually be working more than corporate hours to in all honesty, right? But it's just the flexibility that you have, the freedom to dictate your time, to work things out according to your life, your lifestyle, your schedule, your children, your husband. However, like for me, I'm in a service-based industry. There is no reason why a client should be calling me at no 10, 11 o'clock at night. No, sir. My Google has my hours right posted right up there. And I literally, I literally find that balance not only for my family, but for myself, having that structure. Now, will I take a call here and there, maybe past 6, 7 o'clock? I will if I'm within capacity. But at the end of the day, no, entrepreneurship, to get to where you want to get to, and by all means, trust me, I'm not where I used to be and I'm not where I want to be, but I'm gonna continue to put that work in and day out, right? But I literally think that entrepreneurship is really about what works for you. And you are absolutely right. People do have this misconception of, it's time freedom. Well, what does time freedom really look like for you, right? Time freedom for me, I have balance, I have structure. I plan things accordingly. I put things on my calendar. My calendar is literally like my bestie because, if I don't put it under, something might kind of slip through the cracks. But at the same time, if my daughter has a practice and it's at 4 o'clock, and me, because I still have I still have a little bit of a corporate mentality, a little bit inside my head. And what I mean by that is I literally go by the hours that are on Google when it comes to my business. So my hours, Monday through Friday, it's literally 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if I'm pulling away at 4 p.m. to take my daughter to practice, the laptop's coming with me, the phone's coming with me, the earbuds are coming with me. It's really what works for you is finding that balance and finding, how you're able to be present, right? But also push your business.
I love that. I love that because it is really what it is we have the ability to prioritize and set boundaries and standards
Oh
because
yeah.
right now you drag your laptop with you, but a year from now, your business hours might end at 4 p.m. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's
Yeah.
about because I just recently had a conversation about this too. Like we have the ability to be flexible in different seasons of life.
Yes.
So, like right now, for me, I'm ramping up all of my work before the holidays because football season's over. I don't have these like different weekly commitments that I have had for the last couple of months. And so I have this sort of month pocket of time before Thanksgiving where I can ramp up because I
Yeah.
have the time to do that. But then Christmas, like the holidays will come and I'll slow down a little bit again so I can be present with my kids. And
Yeah.
I think it's that it's having, you have the choice and you have the control
Yeah.
because it looks different in different seasons. And like your kids are younger than my kids.
Yeah.
So you probably need to be more present than I do. You know, I
Yeah.
have a daughter
Yeah.
who she's married and lives on her own now and my son is, you know, too cool for his mom like 90% of the time. So
With
so
a young mama like you, that is so gosh. I can't even believe you have kids that are, that are, I would think you had like babies, because you look like a baby yourself.
oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Girl, I'll be 40 in a couple weeks. So
Girl, stop. You are aging backwards, honey. Come on.
thank you, thank you. But yeah, so I think it's incredible and I think that because we live in a time and I think especially since COVID, we kind of live in this time of like internet gurus that are like passive
Mhm.
income, time freedom, make all this money, never work. Well, no, like all those things are you can create those things, but
Yep.
they look different for you than they look for somebody else. And it still takes work. It still
Mhm.
takes planning and efficiency and it's give and take. So you have to determine, you know, like for me, a non-negotiable was always showing up to my kids' sports events. Well,
Mhm.
sometimes that meant that I was working until 9 p.m. I
Yeah.
just took like a 2 hour break to
Yep.
go to
Yep.
the sports event and then I kept working. So I just that's really the point of these raw conversations. And like you say, like our tests are our testimony. One of the things that I read that really pushed me to make the decision about this YouTube channel was somebody said, your testimony is somebody else's survival guide. And
Wow.
that hit me because for me, my entrepreneurial journey has been long. And even when I was in corporate, I was doing side things. But I didn't have a survival guide. I didn't have like really a mentor. I have an incredible village, but nobody that was like on that same path that I wanted to go on. And so it took me a lot longer to get here than it would have had I been connected to people who had already done it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's the power of mentorships and also just one of the things we learn as entrepreneurs is like you have to invest in yourself. And
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes it's financial, but
Yeah.
if you feel like you don't have the finances, there's so many other ways to
Oh,
invest in
yeah.
yourself. Books. I mean,
The
I
other,
read books
yeah.
like it's
Yep.
going out of style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get them, get a library card, get on Hoopla or one of those apps, read books for free. You know, it's just about really pouring into and developing yourself.
Yeah.
So all right. I want to know because you are married, you have an incredible husband, and you guys are also business partners, and you're also raising amazing kids together. How do you balance being so, you know, there are so many relationships and marriages out there where like they go to work each day and so they come home and they see each other for 2 hours, but you
Yeah.
guys are together around the clock,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
working together. So how do you manage that and sort of separate the business side of things? And maybe you don't, maybe you mesh them together, but the business side of things while still keeping a really healthy marriage.
Oh, yeah. So we actually do separate the two. So we separate business from personal. I always make a joke because I always say, like, it's so funny how we email each other. So, like, he can be in the office right next door and I'm emailing him, hello, Darius. And so it ain't no, hey, baby, hey, boo, hey, honey bunny, like none of it. Literally, business is business and then personal is personal. My husband and I, we have this thing where because we're so passionate about what we do that sometimes we can literally let the day go by and, not intentionally, but what we've done is we created where once a week, which is typically Fridays, before we even pick up the kids, we have a lunch date together. This is every single Friday. And then every evenings, we have what we call friendship time. So, friendship time, it's funny because my family has, when they're over, they've heard like his alarm go off at 7 p.m. and they're like, why does his alarm always go off? And they'll say friendship time. So my husband is kind of like the same with me. Like his calendar is his best friend. His alarm on his phone is his best friend. So we have our friendship time at 7 o'clock in the evening every single day. That could be for 30 minutes, 1 hour. That's kind of where we check in on each other. How was your day? How are you feeling mentally, emotionally, spiritually? What can I help you with? Is there a load that I can help alleviate from you? So on and so forth. Then Friday, before we pick up the kids, we'll probably go around for lunch from like around 11:30ish. And then we're there till like about 2 o'clock, right before picking up the kids. Now that's our alone time, and we kind of decompress from the week that we've had. Have us, whether it's a cocktail or a mimosa or some coffee, whatever we're in the mood for. But we always differentiate business from personal. And we just create that balance to ensure that we're also making time for ourselves and for each other because it can get a little hectic, right? I mean, we're raising two kids together, we're pushing our businesses, we have seminars to go to, presentations to go to, YouTube channels to film for, just a number of things that we can really get lost in that process and kind of like put ourselves on the back burner. And so, I wouldn't be in the position that I am had it not been for my husband. So I'm very intentional about creating that time for me and him.
I love that. And that's exactly what I heard through all of that was being intentional. And it's with our relationships, it's with our personal health, with our kids, with our, when we talk about our time, is if you are really, really intentional. And we all have highs and lows. Like sometimes we're better about things, right? And but being intentional and especially like time blocking, because one of the things that I live by is like you don't find time, you make time.
Yes, 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 that's so
So
good.
if something is a priority, like your marriage,
Mhm.
like your kids,
Yep.
you make time for it. And it's something that goes on the calendar because I'm the exact same. I mean, I live by my calendar. And it's so funny because when you have meetings with people from all different backgrounds, I feel like you always know if they live by their calendar or not based on like when they show up to a meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like like were they prepared to be here? So I love that. I love that. Well, okay. So tell me for a really busy mama who is watching, maybe
Yeah.
somebody who has done the exact same thing their entire life, right? Like worked in property management for 14 years, but they have a really big dream or purpose in their heart that maybe they should be doing something else and maybe
Yes.
they should step out on faith. So for the mama like that that's watching this and is busy and has been maybe even a little complacent because they're comfortable in what they've been doing,
Yeah.
what would you say to them?
I don't know why you asking me that question just like literally got me emotional. Like it literally just took me back to that very moment. And what I would say to all moms is, there's no growth in comfort. Get out of your comfort zone. Take the leap of faith. If there is something in your heart that you know y- that you want to do, if you want to, whatever that may look like, right? If you're not fulfilled, because that's also one of the biggest things was that I had to ask myself, okay, because I can't say I didn't like my job. It's all I did. I actually enjoyed meeting people from all walks of life, but I wasn't fulfilled. And so then I started to just, ask myself certain questions. Am I happy with where I am? What do I want? What is my biggest why? And I literally just took the leap of faith. I betted on myself. I took the leap of faith. I stayed prayed up. I stayed grounded. I kept God in the center of it all. But yes, mama, anybody who's watching, take the leap of faith. There is no growth in comfort. Get out of your comfort zone. Yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Yes, it's going to feel unknown. Yes, you may have some moments where there's uncertainty, but I'm telling you, as long as you stay anchored, keep God at the center of it all, he will see you through it. I always say if he brings you to it, he will see you through it. So take that leap of faith.
I love that. Thank you. That is the perfect note to end on. Jocanna, you're amazing. I appreciate you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having
And
me.
for all the mamas listening, the ways that you can connect with Jocanna will be in the description of the video. And we're so happy you're here. Thanks so much.
Thank you.